Now, by this point in the campaign, Phil Gramm had dropped out, which, to be honest, I had sort of seen coming. The first time I saw him speak on the stump, he said, "I flunked the 3rd, 7th, and 9th grades." Gee, what a surprise. Now, I followed Buchanan around for a few days in South Carolina, and I had met Buchanan in '88 at the Atlanta convention. When I came back to New York, I told my friends in New York, you know, Pat Buchanan is charming. He's a very charming guy. And more than one of my friends said, "Oh, yeah, well, Goebbels was charming," which is just so unfair, because Goebbels wasn't charming. No, Goebbels was an ill-tempered backbiter. Anyway, my Newsweek assignment was to get an interview with Buchanan, which I didn't get, but I came up with some questions, and I don't want to waste them, so here they are. Mr. Buchanan, you have said that 1 million immigrant Englishmen would assimilate to life in America better than 1 million Zulus. Who do you think would do better, 1 million Zulus or 1 million Pygmies? You have said that Holocaust survivors had, quote, group fantasies of martyrdom and heroics. Is the same true of your followers? Have you ever had a homoerotic dream?
There's some water.
Now, Lamar Alexander is here tonight over there, and I think we all remember... Lamar's ABCs, Alexander beats Clinton, or as I like to call it, a bad campaign. Of course, we all know the Alexander campaign would have gone nowhere without the support of Bill Bennett. Now, I haven't actually read the Book of Virtues, but I have seen Bennett on TV quite a bit, and evidently smugness is one of the basic virtues. And no one knows that now better than Bob Dole. I don't need to tell you in the media that things are not going well for him. Dole is now behind the president in every demographic group except one. Apparently, he still enjoys a slight lead among agribusiness executives. For now, the Dole campaign is kind of dead in the water, and the feeling is that the only thing that can really revive it is if Colin Powell agrees to be on the ticket. And, you know, the whole Colin Powell phenomenon sort of led me to one inescapable conclusion, which is that the first Jew to be elected president of the United States will have to be a four-star general. And that gave me the idea of looking for a Jew in the military that we could start grooming for a run at the White House, and so I did some research. Now, unfortunately, it turns out that the highest-ranking Jew in the armed forces right now is Comptroller of the Coast Guard. I think New Jersey Governor Christie Whitman would be a good choice for Dole. She's very popular, and I have a theory on this that I've never heard anyone else articulate. Americans love royalty, and no one represents royalty to Americans more than, even though they're getting divorced, Princess Di and Prince Charles. Christie Whitman is a dead cross between Princess Di and Prince Charles. Now, I've been told that the Dole campaign has eliminated John Engler from consideration. Apparently, he's 2 pounds overweight. Now, the Clinton and Dole campaigns, or camps, have yet to agree on how the debates will work. The Clinton campaign would like a series of 8 debates on subjects ranging from economic insecurity to the environment. The Dole campaign wants one debate on the subject, my war record. Of course, the campaign has now moved back to the Capitol here, and the big battle for most of this past year has been the budget. And last week, the president finally signed a budget for fiscal '96, and that's good. But there's still a lot of work to do toward balancing the budget over the next 7 years. Now, how can we cut all these programs, retain civilization as we know it, and become a better and more compassionate country? Well, I've looked at the budget, and it can be done, but we need creative thinking to make it work. In the spirit of Gingrich and Kasich, I have an idea. Now, every proposal for balancing the budget includes cuts for both Medicare and NASA. Now, here are two seemingly unrelated facts. Fact one, 30% of Medicare expenditures are incurred by people in the last year of their lives. Fact two, NASA spends billions a year on astronaut safety. Maybe you see where I'm going. Why not shoot the elderly into space? Now, stay with me, because I'm not just talking about the budget here, I'm talking about science. Just think how many more manned space operations NASA could undertake if they didn't have to worry about getting the astronauts back. Now, I'm not saying we don't try to get them back. We just don't make such a big deal about it. You know, that way we don't have to use the shuttle every time, which is very expensive. Put an old Mercury, you know, on top of an old Saturn rocket, fire it up, see what happens. And if the Houston, we've got a problem call comes, Mission Control can simply reply, best of luck, we're rooting for you. We can learn so much. What is the effect of weightlessness on arthritis? Let's make it our goal to perform the first hip replacement in space before the millennium. Would aluminum foil make a good spacesuit for a spacewalk? Or would you just bake like a potato? That would be fun to know. This whole thing can be a tremendous boon to what is called raw science. For example, how close to the sun can a person get before he bursts into flame? Then would it make any difference if he's fat? Now, here's another idea. I'm not a military expert, so I'm not sure that this is feasible, but here it is. From what I've read, I understand there is nothing more terrifying in battle than seeing enemy hordes charging at you with no regard for their own lives. Why have we always insisted on asking our young men and now our young women in the flower of their lives to risk themselves in combat? Why not, in the right situation, use a human wave of our elderly to scare the enemy? Now think about it. You're an Iraqi or a North Korean soldier. Suddenly over the horizon, you see a battalion of Americans. They won't attack, you think. America wouldn't risk the blood of its precious youth when it could simply employ its sophisticated, expensive weapons. Then you look through your binoculars, and a chill goes down your spine. Retirees, thousands and thousands of them, each one older than the next, each with a life expectancy of 3 or 4 years at most. You think to yourself, what do these people really have to lose? The worst 4 years of their lives? You're terrified. Then they charge. A slow charge, yes, but that makes it even more frightening.